Very good morning, Jai Shri Krishna Guru. Thank you for joining Sai Satcharita Parayan. Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha, Om Shri Ganeshaya Namaha, Om Shri Saraswataya Namaha, Om Shri Guru Dattatreya Namaha, Om Shri Mahalakshmi Namaha, Guru Brahma, Guru Vishnu, Guru Devo Maheshwaraha, Guru Sakshat Parabrahma, Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha. Shri Sai Satcharita, the life and teachings of Shirdi, Sai Baba. We'll continue from where we stopped yesterday, that is chapter 41. Sai's kindness and conferring of grace. My obeisance to Shri Ganesh, to Shri Saraswati and Shri Guru Maharaj. My obeisance to Shri Ganesh, to Shri Saraswati and Shri Guru Maharaj, to the family deity, to Shri Sita Ramachandra. My most humble obeisance, I bow in reverence to the most venerable Guru, Shri Sainath. Before we start today, I would like to wish you all a very happy Dhanteras and also give a small understanding of what Dhanteras means. Dhanteras, according to the modern world, the concept is where you go buy, jewelry, or you go buy something of a metal, right, which you can offer to Goddess Lakshmi. And whether it's silver, gold jewelry, anything today, everybody goes and buys something, and they also perform a puja in the evening, and Lakshmi puja is performed, and it's called Dhanteras. But is that what Dhanteras mean? Because look, the word is saying Dhan Teras. Dhan means wealth. It doesn't mean gold. It doesn't mean metal pieces. Dhan means wealth. But Dhanteras is not the way you think or what people have construed out of the word in the direct meaning of it. Dhanteras means the god Dhanvantri is worshipped today to eradicate all the diseases, sickness, and every other illness that is connected to our health. Dhanvantri is the god of health, one who is the like the doctor of Ayurveda. The Ayurveda came from him. So when the churning happened, that is when Dhanvantri came with a pot of Amrit. So this is what Dhanteras in reality mean. In reality also means the truth. So this is not understood by people. Everybody thinks Dhanteras means you have to buy gold, some silver jewelry, and then do Lakshmi Puja. In fact, Lakshmi Puja is tomorrow. Tomorrow is Naraka Chaturdashi and Lakshmi Puja. But today I'm not going to give you the story of what Naraka Chaturdashi is, but I'll give you the story on Monday morning, okay? But please understand, Dhanteras is not for doing Lakshmi Puja. Lakshmi Puja is tomorrow evening. It's actually in South India they call it Nom. I'm giving you the local term. In North they say Lakshmi Puja. So at different parts in India celebrate the same Lakshmi Puja in different ways. But Lakshmi Puja is tomorrow, and that always happens after, it falls after the Naraka Chaturdashi. So don't mistake Dhanteras and Lakshmi Puja to be the same. See, in the modern day today, people, all the jewelers, it's a way of making business. Please understand, you have to always ask, what is this real mean? The truth is very different from what you have been following. So don't be under this misconception that Dhan means wealth. No, Dhan means the god Dhanavantri. That is how the word Dhanteras. It is a day celebrated to honor the Lord Dhanavantri, one who has given the concept of Ayurveda, from whom the medicine and everything has evolved. So we pray to him to ensure that we are healthy and the entire universe is healthy. And especially during this pandemic times, we should seek his blessing so that all the pandemic can be cured faster, we get the vaccine, and everybody is hale and hearty. That is what Dhanteras means. I hope you got the real meaning today. So now let us begin from the chapter 41, which is verse 158. And today's chapter is Sai's kindness and conferring of the grace. This is the story of the sweet experience of how a mother indulges her child by fulfilling his fond wishes, and it confirms one in one's devotion. I hope you remember yesterday's story where we stopped. It is about Deo wanting to study Jnaneshwari, and he was going and asking Balakram and others, and then Baba gets very angry. He's saying, why are you, why are you stealing a piece of rag from me? So that word actually in Hindi means chindi chor, one who steals a piece of a rag. It simply means that the Guru is saying you don't have to go and ask people around, of if you have any doubts or questions. Baba is saying, I am the Parabrahman sitting here. Why are you going and asking people? I am here. Please ask me directly. This is what Baba was teaching him in a cryptic language. This is how sometimes the Divine Lord Mighty teaches. The Gurus, the great masters will never talk to you direct. Their way of talking is very, very different. And please know that they will always joke. They'll be doing jokes, but don't even take their jesting and joke in a light manner. You think, oh, they're making fun. They're actually telling you the other way around. Doesn't mean they're joking, that they are encouraging you to do that. So this is a misconception again people have when they hear or listen to how the great gurus speak, and they get carried away with that. That's because you think, oh, the Guru is very casually telling me. No, it's not. He's not casually telling you. Actually, there is a lot of truth in what he's saying. So never go by what he says. In the sense, the direct language. He's never going to talk, in directly to you. You need to understand his ways. There is always a deeper meaning in what he says. So here Baba has very clearly told Dio, you don't have to go and ask people. Come and ask me whatever doubt you have. I am sitting right here. Why are you going around and trying to ask, oh, how is he, or will he give me or not? Ask me, the God is sitting right in front of you. Why are you going outside and trying to find out whether he is going to give or not give? It's none of anybody's business. They are not the Gurus. So don't talk to other people besides the Guru. The Guru is the only one who will be able to give you that response. Nobody else will give you that answer. Please know that. So, nor did Baba stop at telling me to read, said Dio, but hardly had the year ended when he gave darshan, appearing in my dream, and inquired after me. Listen to this. It was a Thursday, the 2nd of April in the year 1914, when I received his grace in a dream at dawn. Sai Samarth came in my dream. He was sitting on the upper story of the Vada. He asked me, do you understand the Poti? I replied in the negative. Then came the next question. When is it going to be understood? Tears welled up in my eyes. And what did I say in reply? Unless I receive your grace, reading the Poti is a futile exercise. It is even more difficult to understand it. This much, Baba, I tell you quite frankly, but this is absolutely true. See, without the grace of the Guru, no knowledge will enter you. This is something you need to understand. Again, I'm going to repeat my favorite stotram. Dhyana Moolam, Gurur Murti. Puja Moolam, Gurur Padam. Mantra Moolam, Gurur Vakyam. Moksha Moolam, Gurur Krupam. Anything, only when your Guru from his mouth comes that you have to do this. That is when you are ready. Please understand, whether it is to give exposition or whether it is to get that knowledge, whether it is to get the understanding. Until then, you will not know anything. I'll give you a very simple example. Today, this morning, I was asking my Krishna Guruji, what does really Dhanteras mean? Please tell me. In fact, he has actually explained this knowledge. He had imparted this long ago. Yes, my mind has completely blanked. I completely forgot about it. 2 years back, he had given the same explanation that Dhanteras is not about Dhan, the wealth. It is about worshipping the god Dhanavantri. And I had completely forgotten about it. And I kept insisting, please Krishna Guruji, tell me, during the breakfast, at the breakfast table. He said, I can't remember anything right now. He said, go and do your research. Go find out. That's it. That means I will get that understanding. But I should take out time, go sit and find out. He said, go find, you will find it. And that is all. So I was able to get that knowledge, and then immediately I remembered what he had taught me. Oh yes, he had already mentioned this to me. So see, the Guru's ways of working is very different. So just when they say, go and do this, when you obey, that knowledge will open up. And the grace is there. The grace is, when the Gurus say, go and do this, when you just do it, that is the grace. It is already there, but you have to put that effort. That is what it means. So without the grace, no knowledge will enter, nothing will enter. But when the time comes, the grace will also dawn. But if he has told you, go, keep reading it, keep reading, do your duties, you have to continue doing every single day. When the time, at the God's appointed timing, at his own will, he will confer that grace on you. So don't worry about it. You don't have to worry at all. Please know that when you have surrendered to the divine Lord Almighty, he takes care of you. That is the faith you need to have in your Guruji. Most important. So likewise here, unless I receive your grace, reading the Pothi is a futile exercise. Yeah, you have to keep reading. When the grace dawns, then that understanding will also come. It is even more difficult to understand it. This much, Baba, I tell you quite frankly. Baba said, while reading the Pothi, you do so very hastily. Now sit near me and read it in front of me. Absolutely. See, sometimes the student doesn't know how to read, but the gurus are all knowing. They very much know, and that time they'll come to your rescue and say, you're not reading this in the right manner. You should read it like this. Especially my Krishna Guruji in the initial days, I have a problem. I read too fast. He says, have you even understood a word of it? Not a single word is going to enter your brain. That's exactly what he would tell me. Can you read slowly? And even my speech, I speak fast, quite very fast, and sometimes my mind and what I say wouldn't connect. And so my Krishna Guruji keeps teaching me. You have to speak slowly so that it's not just you understand your reading, you also will understand, and the one who's listening will also understand. You can't go that fast. So this is very important. Yeah, we are not here to do hastily. So the gurus know where you're going wrong and what you're doing wrong, and they will correct you. And then when he says reread it again, which means then he ensures that I understand and I'm reading it in the manner which will make me then get that knowledge. So see how beautifully Baba says. Baba said, while reading the Pothi, you do so very hastily. Now sit near me and read in front of me. What shall I read? Asked Dio. And Baba commanded him to read the chapter on spiritual matters, that is chapter 9. I got up to bring the Pothi and my eyes opened immediately. Dio was wide awake. Listeners can imagine what he must have thought as he remembered his dreaming state. After waiting for a year, who will worry as to whether Bal obeys the command properly, whether or not he reads the Pothi daily, whether he follows the discipline and practice regularly, or does he make a mistake due to some reason or the other. Who will observe this all the time? Absolutely. Only the great master, the Parabrahman, the God Almighty, because this entire creation rests within him. This entire creation has emanated from him. He is all-knowing. I'll tell you a very sweet incident that happened, during my breakfast, at the breakfast table with my Guruji. You know what he suddenly said? He said a very interesting word. It's so sad. I said, what happened? He was having breakfast and he suddenly mentioned this. I said, what happened? And then he said, somebody is beating a sage. I said, what? I said, because he can understand the bird speaking. So there were a lot of birds around and they were speaking. I said, is a bird a sage? He said, no. Somewhere some soldiers are beating a sage, but the sage is not even in the body. I find it very funny, he said. I said, okay, you're all knowing. I can imagine. Of course, I didn't probe who the sage was, where they were. I didn't ask. But the one thing you need to understand, they are all knowing. This is who a real master is. They're lost. They are in the Parabrahman. They are always in that unmanifest state. They are in that self. Unmanifest in the sense, the unmanifest is manifested in the form of a body. But they are everything. They are all pervading. They are omnipotent, omnipresent, omniscient, and omnipotent. They are everywhere, in everything. So what is that is not in awareness of them? So this is the truth. This is how the gurus are. Who else will care about your welfare if not for the real master? They will come in your dream, or they will come in any form to give you that knowledge, to instruct you. But you need to have that faith, absolute faith, and you must be in love and devotion with that master of yours. And then you will experience this. The way the knowledge will open up, you can't even imagine. This is the truth. Who else but Mother Sai himself will personally prove how careful a reader has to be, whether he should pay special attention, and so on. Such is the Leela of Sai Samarth, such the celebration of self-rejoicing, which I have seen innumerable devotees enjoying with my own eyes. Now let all of us listeners surrender humbly at the Guru's lotus feet and listen later to the novelty of the next chapter at the proper time. Remembering Shri Sai Samarth, Hemad prostrates in obeisance at his feet with pure feelings and surrenders with faith and devotion, for that alone will remove all the sorrows of worldly life. Sai alone is all his material striving. Sai, who brings the highest bliss, his only spiritual striving, for Sai alone will bring him fulfillment. Such is his firm faith. So we'll meet all here hence the 41st chapter of Shri Sai Satcharita, called Sai's kindness and conferring of grace, as inspired by the saints and the virtuous and composed by his devotee Hemad Pant. So here we finished chapter 41. So now let us begin with the next chapter. Chapter 42, Shri Sainath's Niryan. Obeisance to you, O most generous Sadguru, O greatest among the saints, who wanders along the banks of the Godavari, clad in a langoti, and are the Parabrahman incarnate. To you I bow. It is the Sai, in his avatar as a saint, a veritable Kalpataru, in the cause of his devotees, who shows how to cross the river of worldly life and gives refuge at his feet to the meek and the lowly. In the last chapter, the fascinating tale of Sai's marvelous Leela as to how his bas-relief was protected from being immersed in water has been narrated, as also how a devotee's wish was fulfilled by Sai, who appeared in his dream and gave a clear command, thereby helping him to get on with his reading of Jnaneshwari. In short, in the fortunate moment of the Guru's grace, the riddle of fear of worldly life is solved. The doors open up for the attainment of moksha, and all the sorrow and sufferings is transformed into happiness. When the Sadguru is remembered all the time, the obstruction caused by impediments vanishes, death itself dies, and worldly sorrows are forgotten. Absolutely. What can befall, what calamities can befall one who has surrendered unto the lotus feet of the Guru? Absolutely nothing. But when you're going on the path of Dharma and you follow him, he's always there to protect you. He's the benefactor. He's always there. His grace and benevolence is always on your head. His benediction is on your head. He's ever compassionate towards his devotees and disciples. And definitely in this entire universe. But please understand, when you tread the path of unrighteousness, you will never have him in your life. And that is also the truth. He was always there. Those who stand and abide by the spiritual truth, who are always on the path of dharma, goodness, righteousness. And if you even for a moment go on the path of adharma, he's never going to be with you. Hence, the listeners should listen to the story of Sai Samarth for their own benefit, which will truly bring them the highest purification. Now in this chapter, let us describe the nature of Sai, whether he was harsh and rough or mild and gentle. You have listened with concentration so far to Baba's way of conducting himself. Similarly, listen attentively now to the story of his giving up the body. It's very sad that I have to read this chapter. I really don't like, when the gurus have to leave the body and go. It's the most tough thing to do. Sorry. Blessed are the people of Shirdi, who enjoyed the rare happiness of Baba's company for more than half a century. In 1918, in the first month of Dakshinayan, or the southerly declination of the sun, on the Vijayadashmi day, that is the Dasara festival, in the bright half of the moon, Baba gave up the ghost during the daytime. In the Muslim month of Muharram, it was the 9th day, and that night was the night of slaughter. On that day, around 2:35 p.m., Sainath made preparations for his Niryan. As the birth date of Gautam Buddha is celebrated, so is also celebrated the date of Niryan of Sai. The birth dates of gods and goddesses are as much as a cause for celebration as the death anniversaries of the saints. The clock struck the hour of 12:30 in the afternoon. The 10th day of the lunar month was over and Ekadashi on the 11th day began. So Baba's Niryan was really on the Ekadashi day. But since it was Dashami on 10th day at sunrise on that day, Vijayadashmi is regarded as the day of Baba's Niryan and celebrations take place accordingly on that day. That Tuesday was the night of slaughter, a most famous day. Hence, on that day, the great Sai merged the flame of his life into the eternal flame. In Bengal, it is the well-known Durga Puja festival, which ends on this day. And even in North India, it is the day of celebration for all. It was on this day of Vijayadashmi in the year 1916 that in the evening Baba gave a hint of the events to come. I shall narrate the wonderful Leela to how he did it. The listeners will be quite astonished. But everyone will then know of Samat Sai's skillful and most inconceivable planning. In the year 1916, at the time of Shilangan, on the Dashara day, a marvelous Leela was manifested by Baba after returning in the evening from his usual round. Like the clouds that thunder in the sky, quite unexpectedly, with a sudden loud crackling of lightning, so Baba appeared as Jamdangini himself. He took off the piece of cloth around his head. In a jiffy, he removed the kafni and the langot around his waist, and as he put them all in the fire of the dhuni, it flared up instantly. Already the fire was burning brightly, and to it was now added this offering of abundant fuel. With the result, the flames rose high in a tumult, much to the agitation of the devotees around. All this happened quite suddenly, and no one knew what was in Baba's mind. But in that moment of Shilangan, his countenance was most frightening. The fire spread around its own powerful brilliance, but far greater was the brilliance with which Baba's face shone, dazzled the eyes of the onlookers closed involuntarily as they turned their faces away. Agni Narayan, the fire god, was pleased on consuming the offering of the saints at the saint's hand, while he, who was like Parshuram, the son of Jamdangini, became naked. Blessed, indeed, were the eyes of all those who looked on. His eyes glowed with anger, in a fit of rage, and with glaring eyes, he said, "Now decide for yourself whether I am a Muslim or a Hindu." "Today see clearly whether I am a Hindu or a Muslim," roared Baba. "Decide in your minds till you are satisfied and have all your doubts removed." Seeing this spectacle, people trembled with fear and kept on worrying as to how he could be pacified. The Guruji does some things for a reason. We always have a lot of doubts that assail our mind. We are never as satisfied with what the Gurus say. We don't just accept what they say and have faith in them and move on. We always have to doubt. And sometimes the Guru's working is very, very unique. I keep saying this, and it is mentioned in every chapter, in every Leela, that his ways are incomprehensible. You can't even fathom it. Sorely afflicted as Bhagoji Shinde was, yet he was a great devotee of Baba. Taking up courage, he came near Baba and put a langot around him. "What is all this, Baba?" he said. "Today is Shilangan, the festival of Dasara." Baba said, "This is in itself my Shilangan," as he went on striking hard with his baton. In this way, Baba stood all naked near the dhuni. It was the day of Chavdi, and people began to be anxious as to how the Chavdi ceremonies could be performed. 9 o'clock was the time for Chavdi procession, and it was already 10 o'clock. Baba had not yet calmed down. People stood still as they were in different places and stared wide-eyed in silence. Gradually, Baba's temper cooled down. It was 11 o'clock. Baba then wore a kafni and a brand new langot. The bell rang for Chavdi. People who had been sitting in silence now decorated the palanquin with flowers and with Baba's permission brought it to the courtyard. The procession then set out for the Chavdi, as on every alternate day, and was with adornments befitting that of a king, replete with the silver staff, banners, chowri, the regal umbrella, flags, etc. And as it started, there was one loud clang of musical instruments. Who can describe the loud acclamations of glory to Sai Sainath that accompanied it? There was an overflow of joy everywhere. He then picked up a piece of cloth, clean and snow white, which he tied round his head, and took up the clay pipe, tobacco, baton, etc. in hand, as if signaling that this was the most auspicious moment to set out for the Chavdi. Some held up the umbrella, some the Chavri, still others the bunch of beautiful peacock feathers, some took up the flags bearing a picture of an eagle, others took the ornamental umbrella, and yet others took in their own hands the staff of the chopdar or mace bearer. In this way, Baba hinted, under the pretext of Shilangan, that to cross over the border of ocean of worldly life, Dashara is the only auspicious time. Thereafter, Baba remained with the people of Shirdi for only one more Dashara. And regarding the very next Dashara to be the best and the most auspicious day, surrendered his mortal coil to the earth. And not only did he just suggest this, but demonstrated it himself, giving them the actual experience by offering a pure white piece of cloth, that is his body, to the fire of yoga on the same day. He truly made the Dashara festival of the year 1918 a most auspicious day and merged his own form into that of the Brahman. And as I write this, another such experience of Baba comes to my mind to prove that this same day of Vijayadashmi had already been fixed by him for his Niryan. If you ever have to be with the real masters, please remember one thing. They will always give you those premonitions that it's time for them that they will leave. Like my Krishna Guruji will say, I have very limited time in this world. Just the thought itself is very scary, because you just feel like, yeah, they are eternal being. They are all pervading. But it's very difficult to live a life without having the Guru in the physical form, because he's so much around you, Sorry. Though they're always there, they are with you, in spirit. But of course, when you don't have them around, who are you going to serve? That's so. Similarly, even in Guru Charitra, Lord Dattatreya, always in the form of Narsim Saraswati or Shri Vallabh, he has very clearly said, now is my time and I'm going to leave. He will always give that instruction to his dearest disciples and devotees, that when is the time that he is going to leave. So it's all perfectly planned. They know what is their time limit on this planet Earth, whether they have fulfilled their duties or whatever they have come to establish, has it been performed. So such are the great masters. But it is extremely difficult to accept the fact that they will not be there. Because, even though you understand they are eternal being, they are all pervading, they're always with you, but yet you tend to feel that pain. And that's love, nothing else. It's only their love. Once Ramachandra Patil Kote of Shirdi became very ill and was unable to bear the distress of life-threatening ailment. Such was this great suffering. No cure remained to be tried, and yet, when the ailment could not be controlled, he became tired of life itself. Patil was greatly harassed. While in this state of mind, one day, Baba suddenly appeared at his bedside at midnight. Patil at once clasped his feet and said to him in great dejection, Baba, tell me only this once, when will death come definitely? I am now tired of life, and death is to me no great calamity. I am only waiting for death to come to me. Then Baba, who was compassion incarnate, said to him, "Do not worry. The imminent danger from your dreaded sickness is already overcome. Why do you unnecessarily worry? For you, there is absolutely no fear. Your hundi has returned fully. But, O Ramchandra, I see no hope for Tatya Patil." In the year 1918, in the month of Ashwin, October, during the sun's southerly passage, on the Vijayadashmi day, in the bright half of the moon, Tatya will go to his eternal abode. But do not tell him about this, or else he will take a dread in his heart and pine away by day and by night. Nobody likes the prospect of death. Only 2 more years remained. The time for Tatya came near. Ramachandra was worried, for Baba's words were like a vajralep. He kept it a secret from Tatya, but disclosed it to Bala Shimpi, that is the tailor, entreating him not to tell anyone else. Both of them grew worried, and Ramachandra Patil really got well. From then onwards, his illness left him completely. The days passed quickly after that, without his even realizing it. Just see the precision of Baba's words. The month of Bhadrapada, August to September of 1918, had just passed and Ashwin began, when Tatya Bhatt took to his bed. There, Tatya suffered from high fever, but here Baba began to shiver with cold. Tatya's full reliance was on Baba, but Baba's protector was Sri Hari himself. Tatya could not even get up from his bed and hence was not able to come for Baba's darshan. So greatly did the body suffer that he could bear it no longer. For one thing, he was distressed by his own illness, and yet his heart was with Baba. He was unable to walk or move about. The illness was taking a turn for the worse. Here, Baba's moaning and groaning increased doubly day by day, and in no time his ailment too became uncontrollable. The day predicted by Baba drew near. All too soon, with fear and apprehension, Bala Shimpi broke into cold sweat, and so did Ramachandra Patil. Baba's words really did seem to be coming true, they said. The omen does not appear to be good, and illness is becoming critical. See, the great gurus are not going to say that he is going to be the one who's taking that sickness and Baba is the one who's going to attain Niryan. He said that Tatyaba is going to die. It is not Tatyaba who's going to die. It is Baba who is going to avert that calamity from Tatya dying, and he's going to take it on himself and he's going to leave the body. See, there must be a reason for him to leave the body, right? So that is how the divine masters work. Then came Dashami, 10th day. In the bright half of the moon, the pulse grew feeble as Tatya lay dying. His relatives were frightened. But what happened later was a real marvel. The danger to Tatya's life was averted. Tatya remained while Baba, it was, who passed away, as if in exchange for Tatya. And see the marvel of Baba's words. He took Tatya's name but was really making ready for his own Niryan without missing the exact time, even by a second. This is the greatness of the real master. And yet he had given the warning, beginning to the notice of all and the future event. But until it happened, actually, no one had realized it. People say Baba averted Tatya's death by giving his own body in exchange. Baba alone would know his own Leela. On the day after Baba gave up the ghost, in the early morning at the sunrise, Baba appeared in a vision in Das Ganu's dream at Pandharpur. The mosque had tumbled down. All the grocers and oil merchants of Shirdi have harassed me, so I'm now going away from there. Hence, I've come up to here. Cover me up in an abundance of flowers. Oh, do fulfill this wish of mine. Come immediately to Shirdi. Meanwhile, as the letter was dispatched from Shirdi, he came to know of Baba's Mahasamadhi. As he heard it, Das Guru set out for Shirdi without losing a moment. With a group of disciples that accompanied him, he stood before the Samadhi and began singing bhajans and kirtan day and night, with loud proclamations of Naam by the devotees from time to time. Himself he wove a most beautiful flower garland of Harinam and lovingly offered it at the Samadhi, along with Annadan. The loud ceaseless chant of Harinam made Shirdi appear to be a veritable Vaikunt, the abode of Sri Vishnu on this earth. It was indeed as a market of loud proclamations of Naam, which Dasgam was pouring out lavishly. But why was Baba so fond of Dashera in particular? Because out of the 3.5 most auspicious days in the year, that day is considered to be specially auspicious for going anywhere. This is well known to everyone. And yet, this is not really correct either. How can there be Niryan to one who is beyond all coming and going? And for such a one, where is the need for an auspicious day? He who is above the bondage of dharma, adharma, and has shed all such bondages, he whose life had no departure, what Niryan can be there for him? There is no coming or going to Sai Maharaj, whose state is such that, having become one with Brahman, he goes to Brahman. Then, how can he be in a state of Niryan? Be it the northerly or southerly revolution of the sun, what is it to him, who does not have to depart, but whose life merges with the Brahman in its own place, like the extinction of light in a lamp? This body is, after all, only a borrowed one, and it is the 5 elements who lend it. Once our purpose is served, it is to be returned to them, to whom it belongs. Baba gave a warning of things to come, much in advance, causing surprise to people. That priceless moment of his Nirvana has passed away, leaving its glory behind forever. A running fever was the apparent cause, and following the ways of the world, Baba would sometimes groan, sometimes moan, but was self-aware forever. In the day when it was about 9:30 or 10 o'clock and the time was approaching for the Niryan, Baba sat up without anybody's help and with a perfectly composed and undisturbed mind. Looking upon Baba's face at the time, a sea of hope surged in the hearts of the devotees as they all felt that the terrible, inauspicious moment was averted. And as they all sat there, sad and worried, Baba's end drew near. Listen to what happened then. When there was hardly a moment left for life to depart, one knows not what came in his mind. But realizing that it was the time to give in charity, he put his hand in the pocket of his kafni. The virtuous Lakshmi, whose conduct justified her name, and who was always absorbed at Baba's feet, was with him at that time. Fully aware that in a moment he was going to give up his mortal coil. It was to her that Baba gave some money in charity very carefully. This was that Lakshmi Bai Shinde who used to serve faith. Who used to serve faithfully in the mosque, observing all the rules and regulations about work. It was a regular practice that during the day, Baba's darbar was open to all, and for the most part, nobody was prohibited. But during the night, the restrictions were severe. Once he returned from the evening round and the people went back to their respective homes, they came to the mosque only after dawn the next day. But knowing the devotion of Bhagat, Malsapati, Dada and Lakshmi, Baba did not prohibit them from coming even at night. And again, it was this Lakshmi who sent Baba very lovingly jowar bhakri, bread and vegetables every day at the appointed timing. Who can describe her sincere service adequately? And when the story of the bhakri is heard, you will realize Baba's affection and compassion, and the listeners will be amazed at Baba's oneness with dogs and pigs. Once, as Baba sat in the evening, leaning his breast against the wall and conversed affectionately, Lakshmi came there. Tatya Patil was nearby, and some others were present there too. Lakshmi made obeisance to Baba. Then Baba said to her, Lakshmi, I am feeling hungry. Baba, I will go this instant and get some bhakri for you. So saying, she went away and returned without delay, bringing with her freshly baked bhakri with some vegetables, etc., and placed the snack before Baba. Baba picked up the plate and then placed it before a dog. Lakshmi asked at once, Baba, what is this you have done? So hastily that I went and prepared the bhakris in minutes, and is this all its fruit? It is to the dog, and that you gave all the true enjoyment? You were feeling hungry, but is this any way to appease the hunger? Not a morsel did you put in your mouth, and here I am fretting in vain. Then Baba said to her, why do you feel sad needlessly? Know that the satiety of this dog is my own satiety. Absolutely. The divine gurus are all pervading. If the dog's hunger is appeased, the Parabrahman is appeased. Does this dog not have a life? All living creatures experience the same hunger. Though he is dumb and I am vocal, is there any difference in the hunger? Know that those who give food to one suffering the pangs of hunger are really putting it in my mouth, and this is true everywhere. It was a simple incident of daily life, but its lesson was a spiritual one. Such were Sai's words of instruction, a fruit perfectly ripe and mellow with love and affection. Speaking a simple language of daily life, he would sketch the outline of spiritual matters. Without putting his finger on anybody's faults or secrets, he would please his devotees. Thence began Lakshmi's daily bhakri as per Baba's instruction. She would crush it in milk and offer it lovingly to Baba every day. Baba also began eating it regularly with love, and if on occasion it was delayed, he would miss it so much that he would not relish the meal. If Lakshmi's bhakri was late in arriving, even if the meal was all served and usual time had passed, he would not put even a morsel of food in his mouth. The food might grow cold on the plates, the hungry diners might be kept waiting, but until Lakshmi's bhakri arrived, the meal would not be touched. Such is the grace of the real master. And please understand, Baba doesn't, or any guru for that matter, will not accept this from everybody's hand. It's only through their pure devotees will they confer this grace. Later on, for some time, Baba would daily ask at about 3 to 3:30 p.m. for vermicelli at Lakshmi's hand, and sitting near her, he would eat it. Baba would of course eat only a limited quantity thereof, and the remainder would be sent to Radha Krishna Pai at the hands of this same Lakshmi. For she, Radha Krishna, was fond of eating the leftovers from Baba's meal. Again, it is the Guru's grace. Again, you can't get the Guru's leftovers. To eating the Guru's leftovers is the greatest prasad that you can get, because you will be able to purify your heart, your mind, and surrender unto the lotus feet of the Guru will happen. The love and devotion will grow, and you will evolve spiritually too. All your sins will be warded off. But oh listeners, say not as to why this idle, irrelevant talk about bhakri right in the middle of the description of Baba's Niryan, for it is indicative of Sai's all-pervasiveness. This most exalted Sai fills completely and forever that which is beyond this visible world of things, animate and inanimate. He who is unborn and immortal, he is this Sai. And the essence of the story lies in this one truth. I really think that the sweet tale of Lakshmi that I remembered so casually was really for the listeners' benefit alone. Absolutely. You need to understand the goodness. You have to be good in this world. That is all they teach. Love and devotion. Be compassionate. Be good. In this world right now, we are all going through the unrighteous life. Everybody's following unrighteous path. The divine masters incarnate to put the to put people and this entire world back on the path of dharma, which is righteousness. But man is like a dog's tail. It never straightens out. No matter how much you teach him, he'll exactly go and do the same thing which he's not supposed to do. Then what happens of these great divine beings who manifest themselves to wear out and take out all your stupid sins and karmas that you perform? And then what? They will have to suffer and go away. What use is it for these divine masters when you have to go and make the same mistake over and over again? It's like a dog's tail that will not change. Some days back, my Guruji wrote a very interesting update on he posted a very beautiful picture. We had gone to one of the villages and my Guruji named the dog. The dog is so loyal. You know what? The moment my Guruji got out of the car, it came running. It could recognize him. He was so happy. He was so playing blissfully with him. Seeing that sight was so divine. And you know what? Someone wrote, I wish I was a Julian. I was telling this person, human beings cannot become a Julian because it's the human beings are a dog's tail, which will never want to straighten out. But Julian is Julian because he has that goodness. There's somebody somewhere I read this. They said if you feed a dog even for 3 days, it will remain and be loyal to you for lifetime. But if you feed a man even for 3 years, he will forget you in 3 seconds. That is what is human nature. They say in Hindi, kutte ka dum hai wo. And I feel very sad. My Guruji, 20 plus years, you go and see his satsangs on Krishna knows. He said the same thing billion, trillion times. But doesn't enter your dud head. Nobody's dud head. They all want to go and fall in the gutters. That is what they're all there for. And what use is there for this Guru to incarnate and then suffer for everybody's sins? Although life rose into the throat in extreme distress, though the body was exhausted and there was no strength left, yet Baba gave in charity with his own hands to Lakshmi in that moment of life ebbing away from the body. He took out from his pocket first ₹5 and then ₹4 and placed them on her hand. And this was Baba's end. Was this the sign that Baba gave the path of ninefold devotion to her? Absolutely yes. Or of the puja of Ambika, goddess Durga, at the end of the Navratri festival, and that it was the Dakshina of Shilangan for crossing of the border. Or was he giving a reminder of the 9 qualities of a disciple which Sri Krishna told Uddhava in Srimad Bhagavad? And just see the marvel of the 6th stanza of the 10th chapter in the 11th canto of Bhagavad. In that stanza, it is narrated how a disciple should benefit from a guru and how he should conduct himself in order to get that. There, in its first half, 5 qualities have been described, while in the later half, only 4 have been described. Baba also followed the same order, methinks, with the same purpose in mind. The disciple should remain indifferent to honors, insults, fame, etc. Be alert to his own spiritual being. Be without jealousy, detached and dedicated to the Guru's service. Ever intent on the knowledge of Brahman and firm and steady within. Oh really? Today's devotees are all this, my God. My Guruji will say, it's very rare to find even one disciple who can stand this. I wish I could find one. That is how my Guruji talks, because nobody wants to follow any of this. We are always lost in the glamorous world of Maya, very enticing. She says, come, look at me, and everybody will go and follow. They don't understand what is the truth. But you know what, when Baba is gone, you will hear in the next chapters to say, everybody is going to have a regret, and that is what they would live a life with. But when the great master is there, they will not value what they have. He should be one who knows not what is envy and does not indulge in vain, senseless talk. Okay, this also belongs to me. Okay, my Guruji will say, you just need to keep silent, don't talk. You don't have to respond. We don't have to indulge ourselves in senseless talks with anybody. We just need to keep it to ourselves. Let people do what they have to do. No, it's everybody's, given into their nature, karma and tendencies. Unfortunately, they can't overcome it. And that is why you need extreme sadhana, extraordinary efforts, arduous efforts. Otherwise, you can go nowhere. It's like going back in circles and coming to the same point all over again. This must have been the purpose of he should be one who knows not what is envy and does not indulge in vain, senseless talk. These are the qualities with which he should strive to gratify this Guru. The Guru is only pleased when you abide by his teachings, when you live and breathe that. That's the highest Guru Dakshina that you ever offer to him, not anything else. He doesn't care for your wealth, what you offer, what you don't offer. And please know that he is Parabrahma, he is Avaduta, he is ever free. He doesn't have anything, he doesn't covet anything, yet he owns this entire universe. He is the master of everything. Know that he is the Lord Shri Krishna himself. This must have been the purpose of Sainath too, which he expressed in this form. Saints are always gracious and kind for the benefit of their own devotees. Lakshmi was well-to-do, of what significance were 9 rupees to her. She could have easily given away the same amount in charity, but this was a unique gift to her, absolutely. And this great good fortune of hers was rare too. That is why she received the 9 gems, all in a row, from Sai's own hands, which were symbolic of Sai's grace. Many a time, such a sum of 9 rupees must have been given away by her and will do so in the future. But this gift was most unique, for it will be to her a reminder of Sai to the end of her life. Death was drawing near, yet Baba remembered to keep his memory alive till her death by giving her rupees 5 and 4 in that order. Showing an alertness of mind, he sent away those who were near him to have their meal, but 2 or 3 villagers wanted to stay. Seeing how critical the time was, none of the loving devotees insisted that they be not asked to go away from Baba. But as if afraid that in the moment of death he may get entangled in Maya, Baba hurriedly sent everyone away. Realizing that Niryan was at hand, Baba said to Butti, Kaka and others, go to the Vada and come after your meal. Anxiety and worry on the faces of those around made Baba's own mind falter, and hence he ordered them all, go and have your meal and then come back. It was thus that those constant companions, close friends, as they were, by day and by night, got up to go by his command. Though uneasy in mind, they would not disobey his order, and yet they could not leave his company either. But they would not incur his displeasure, and hence went away to Vada for meals. His illness had taken a serious turn. What meal, what food, their minds, their hearts were all with Baba, and not even for a moment could they bear the thought of separation. All the same, they went and sat down to the meal. Suddenly, they were all called away urgently. Without finishing the meal, they all rushed. But still, they missed the last meeting. The oil of life was exhausted. The flame grew dimmer. And there, on the lap of And there, on the lap of Bayaji Kothe, lay the body in eternal rest. Not lying down or sleeping, but sitting upon the mattress calmly, and after giving away in charity with his own hands, did Baba giving up his mortal coil. Without anyone knowing his heart secret, he gave up the body effortlessly and merged with the Brahman. Saints appear in this world, assuming a body through the power of Maya. When their work of upliftment is over, they immediately merge into the unmanifest. An actor appears disguised in different costumes, but knows full well his real identity. Then what danger of death can there be to one who has taken an avatar of his own free will? He who had incarnated to guide the people ended his avatar when his mission was over. How can he be tied to birth and death? For he has taken on a body of his own free will. What possibility of death is there for him whose glory is Parabrahman itself? How can creation and destruction harm him who experiences detachment all the time? Though he prepared to be performing karma, not in the least did he really perform any. Being absolutely without ego, he always performed karma without considering himself to be the doer of it. Without working out the prarabdha karma, the karma is never destroyed. The secret about karma has been revealed in the Smritis, and he who realized the Brahman has no doubts about it, for he sees Brahman in all things. All the fruits of karma result from the karma performed. This differentiating quality of the karma is well known, but even that is regarded as the Brahman by the Brahmanyanis, like seeing silver on the oyster shell. A compassionate mother like Baba, how did she fall in the jaws of death? This happening was verily like the dark night swallowing the day. Now let us end this chapter here, observing the limit of the number of verses for each month. If the chapter is extended any further, it will make the listeners restless. The remaining story of the Niryan can be heard later in its proper order. Hemant surrenders to Sainath for his grace has brought him fulfillment. We'll be to all. Here ends the 42nd chapter of Shri Sai Satcharita called Niryan of Shri Sainath, as inspired by the saints and the virtuous and composed by his devotees Hemant Pant. Thank you so much. I know today is not a chapter which we all enjoyed. It is a very sad one that Baba's Niryan happened, but he has given us some of the most beautiful lessons which we need to live and abide by. And that is why these great saints will be known to eternity. So let us pray that we all live and become, we all live his lessons and we become a very good human beings and evolve towards the path of spirituality. And once again, wishing you all a very happy Dhanteras, and I hope you understand. So don't go and make people rich out going and buying jewelry. Please pray for your good health and happiness. See you all on Monday, same time, 8:30 a.m. in the morning. Om Shri Mahaganapate Namaha, Om Shri Gurudev Datta, Om Shri Sachidananda Sadguru Sainath Maharaj Ki Jai, Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya, Digambara Digambara, Shripad Vallabha Digambara, Om Shri Krishna Gurunathanataya Shri Guruve Namaha, Om Devi Durgaya Namaha, Om Shri Krishna Arpanam Namastu, Krishnam Vande Jagat Gurum.